Hello everyone, this is Chris from Adventure Pilot, and today I'm going to review the iFly EFB ADS-B guide. First off, we'll discuss what ADS-B is, how iFly EFB and ADS-B ins work together, how to connect to an ADS-B in, recommendations we have for devices, and troubleshooting tips. First off, what is an ADS-B? ADS-B stands for Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast. It is a system of receivers, transponders, and ground stations, and communicates position data while in flight, whether to air traffic control or to other aircraft. There's some additional information that's sent over the network besides traffic data, such as weather data, NOTAMs and TFRs, and for these pieces of information, it is entirely dependent on ground stations, and aircraft must be around a 1,000 feet AGL to receive a ground station connection to get that data. There are a few basic components of the ADS-B network. First off is an ADS-B In receiver. This device receives TSB or traffic and FSB or weather data. The features vary between these devices, and they aren't required by the FAA, but they provide a great level of situational awareness. Next is the ADS-B Out transponder. This broadcasts position and identification data and is required in Class A, B, C, E airspaces at and above 10,000 feet MSL, and the Mode C Vail, which is 30 nautical miles outside a Class B primary airport. ADS-B out transponders are out of scope for this presentation, so please excuse any oversimplified definition of their variations in functionality. Finally is the ADS-B ground station. It is part of a countrywide network. It receives and broadcasts the TSB data and FISB data. Next is a short diagram of how ADS-B in and out works. This is very simplified, so please excuse any overlooking of really detailed information with the ADS-B network. First off, we have an ADS-B in and out that is on an aircraft. So this aircraft has a receiver and transponder. It broadcasts data or traffic TSB data to another aircraft with an ADS-B in only or just the receiver portion. Notice how the aircraft with ADS-B in only is not broadcasting its data. Finally, there's the ground station, which is broadcasting FISB data to both, since they both have ADS-B in receivers. Next, let's go over EFB functionality. EFBs only communicate with the ADS-B in portion of the ADS-B network. Even if a ADS-B device is in and out equipped, still EFBs such as iFly EFB are only going to take data from the receiver or ADS-B in portion. EFBs rely on the data transmitted from the ADS-B in, and the data is only as good as the source. As an example, we saw the ground station transmitting the FISB data and the aircraft with the ADS-B out. That would be an example of the source. As we see here, airplanes and ground stations transmit the TSB and FSB data. A ADS-B device such as a Stratux 3 picks that up and transmit the data over a Wi-Fi connection to a device running an EFB such as iFly EFB. And then the relevant data such as traffic data, weather, GPS, AHRS, etc. are transmitted from the ADS-B in straight to the device. Now let's go over how to connect an ADS-B in. First off, turn the ADS-B in device on. Next, go to the device's Wi-Fi settings. The example here is an iPad, but it is very similar on Android devices. Find the ADS-B in's Wi-Fi network. For this example, it's a Stratux 3. Once the device is connected, open the iFly EFB app. iFly EFB will auto-connect to the ADS-B. Now let's review popular ADS-B In brands that are compatible with iFly EFB. It is important to do extensive research into the ADS-B In device you are looking to purchase. One, to make sure it's compatible with iFly EFB, and two, that it has the required functions that you need. For example, not all ADS-B Ins support both traffic and weather data. If you're ever unsure of if ADS-B In works with iFly EFB or the functions of the device and how it would work with the app, you can always send us an email at support@iflyefb.com. The devices shown in this presentation and their respective links will be in the description below. First off is Aperio. Aperio manufactures the Stratux line of devices, as you saw in the last clip, and their most recent device is the Stratux 4, which has GPS, weather and traffic data, and AHRS. Also includes a pressure altitude sensor, a G meter, and has an 8-hour battery. Next, let's explore Level Aviation's devices. They have several devices, so we won't be able to go into too much detail, but just provide a quick overview of those. First is the Astro Plus. The Astro Plus is an ADS-B In that has GPS, weather and traffic data, as well as AHRS. It also has an auxiliary port and external antenna attachment. Next is the iLevel AP or Autopilot. It has ADS-B and GPS data similar to the Astro Plus, but also provides autopilot data over Wi-Fi. So EFB apps like iFly EFB can connect to it over Wi-Fi and send autopilot data to the iLevel AP. Also has serial connections and an engine analyzer capability. Next is the Level 3AW. 3AW has ADS-B and GPS like we saw before, serial connections, and is also FAA NORC approved as a backup. Finally, from Level is the Bomb. This unique device hangs off the wingtip, has pitot-static, is self-charging, ADS-B, GPS, and angle of attack, and is also FAA approved as a backup. Next, let's go over Uavionics. First device from them is the SkySensor TSO, which is a FAA TSO certified ADS-B In that hangs off the wingtip. It has ADS-B, traffic and weather, GPS, and altimeter functions. It has nav lights on the side. That's part of the FAA TSO certification. And it pairs with the SkyBeacon ADS-B out. Next is the Ping USB. Ping USB is a very small ADS-B In. However, it does not have GPS or weather data functionality, meaning it cannot transmit GPS or weather data, FISB, to a device running an app like iFly EFB. The next device we will explore is the Stratux. The Stratux is the open source ADS-B. It can be purchased DIY or pre-built from a dealer. It is a customizable device with a lot of variations. By default, it comes with GPS, traffic, and weather, and an AHRS module can be sold separately, as well as an external GPS. One thing to note with the Stratux is there's no internal battery, so an external power source or an external battery is required to power the unit in flight. Next up is Falcon Avionics. Falcon Avionics manufactures the Flightbox ADS-B V3. It is a compact device, supports Wi-Fi, RS-232, and Ethernet connections, and comes with traffic, weather, GPS, AHRS, and a carbon monoxide monitor. It also has options for an external GPS. The Flightbox Pro is a GPS, traffic, weather, AHRS, and pressure altimeter device that is FAA NORC approved as a backup. It also has Wi-Fi and Ethernet connections. Finally, let's review some troubleshooting tips working with an ADS-B In. First, check the iFly EFB app permissions. To do this, go into the Settings application and search for iFly EFB. On iOS, ensure location access and local network access are turned on. And on Android, location access and nearby devices are turned on. Having these turned off will cause issues with connecting to the ADS-B In and receiving GPS data and other information. On the device, make sure no other EFBs or ADS-B apps are running in the background, as these might interfere with the connection between iFly EFB and the ADS-B In. Also check that VPNs, proxies, or antivirus apps are turned off, as these might mistake the ADS-B In Wi-Fi network as malicious. On the iFly EFB app, it's always recommended to check the status page to ensure that the ADS-B In is properly connected. This can be viewed by going to Menu, Setup, and ADS-B. From there, ensure the selected device is on auto detect by default or the ADS-B In that you're working with. On the status page, you can also reset and reconnect, which will help reset the connection between the ADS-B In and iFly EFB. Finally, a couple miscellaneous pieces of information. ADS-B GPS is always preferred over internal GPS whenever it is available. So if an ADS-B In has a good GPS connection and is transmitting that to iFly EFB, then iFly EFB will use that GPS source instead of the internal GPS on the device. EFIS and IFDs connect similarly like ADS-B Ins, but they have different functions and are out of scope for this video. Thank you very much for watching this iFly EFB ADS-B guide. If you have any questions, you can always email us, support@iflyefb.com, or visit our website, www.iflyefb.com. Thank you very much.